I'm in the middle of taking apart a table. Now, I don't usually start my videos partway through a project. I did really record an intro, a proper intro, with this table still intact, and then I deleted it. Thankfully, I still have some pictures on my phone. This is what the table used to look like. It was pretty wobbly and had a good amount of damage to it, but I've always thought it was kind of cute. I'm Anna, and I'm refinishing this table to be used as an entry table. And how about I take you into the past where I started disassembling this table and didn't delete the video. My first goal is to take the table apart, and I can see there's 4 screws holding this little shelf in, so I'm going to start with that. I mean, the thing is so rickety. When I pick it up, this leg actually drops a bit because this broken part here. So let's see if I can take it apart. Oh gosh, that's in there tight. Okay, we'll skip that one. Try another one. Can you see here, there's a label, and too bad like the label's like pretty much all fallen off because I would love to be able to read. I can read that it says, this would have said furniture company, and it says it's Ontario. It starts with an N, maybe Newmark, I don't know, maybe that's a postal code. I don't know what the N is. And then the name of the company ended in a Y. So it's something Y Furniture Company from Ontario. I think that's kind of cool. I'm gonna flip it on its back and try to take off that shelf. Oh, easy. Everything else is really loose, but I don't have the best engineering mind, so I'm not gonna take any more apart until I have Ralph take a look at it. I mean, if it was up to me, I'll just start hammering things and making it fall apart, but then I wouldn't know how to put it back together. So I got the shelf out, and so now I can sand it. Oh, I broke it. No, it was broken. That's why it's all wobbly. I'm gonna have to drill that out and put a new one of these little dowels in. This side's broken. I need a new one of these. I'm sure if there's anyone who's an actual woodworker watching this, you are cringing right now. Sorry. I took it apart. But once I re-glue and stick it all back together, it's gonna be so much sturdier. And it won't look like this on the top anymore. Fun. I'm having way too much fun. All right, back to present day. This is how far I got on one of the legs. There's enough of a gap. Can you see that? There's enough of a gap there. So I can sand around here and refinish it, and then I'm just gonna tap it back in and put a good amount of glue to hold this together. So I'm not gonna work on this one anymore. I think that one's good enough. But this one's the one that just won't budge. So I'm going to keep tapping on it and keep prying it with my scraper, I don't know, and try to get it at least somewhere, like just a little bit of a gap, so at least I can get in there and sand. There's gonna be so much banging. All right, I've made a tiny little gap. It's like super tiny, but enough that the sandpaper will be able to fit in there. So I'm done. I'm not gonna push my luck with this one anymore. So, oh, that means I can finally start sanding, yeah! Oh, and I took apart a table all by myself. I'm so proud of me. Go me.
To remove the original finish, I decided only to sand and not use a stripper. The finish sanded off pretty easily.
All the pieces of wood have been sanded with 80 grit paper to take off the finish, so that's done. Now I just need to go over it all again with something a bit finer, just to give it a softer finish and to do a little bit of detail work, especially on the top. There's the edging that needs to get done. So, oh yeah, and one other thing, the wood is so much darker than I was expecting. I thought it would be some kind of just like a clear pine, but this is a much nicer wood. A little bit of a surprise. Anyways, what isn't a surprise is more sanding.
I sanded a lot with 220 and 240 grit, and it was worth it. The wood looks almost brand new. Now that all my pieces are sanded, I can move on to drilling out the dowels, I think they're called dowels, that got stuck, that broke off. So I need them to look more like this instead of this. So I think I'm just gonna use a drill, clamp down the wood and drill away. I don't know, sounds like a viable plan. Let's see how it goes. I'm still totally surprised that I drilled out those dowels all by myself and that I didn't break anything. Pat myself on the back, pretty impressed with myself today. But before I can put the table back together, I want to stain it first. I just think it'll be easier with all the little pieces, just staining everything. So I'm gonna use the same stain that's already been used in that room, which is this Flagstone. It's a lighter stain, so it's not gonna really do too much to the wood. I did try a little here, and it just kind of lightened the wood a touch, I think. I mean, this is still wet, so it might look darker. I don't know, but that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to Flagstone all of the pieces, and fingers crossed that I like how it looks. The stain has turned out so well. I was a little worried about doing a light stain over a dark wood, but it looks way more modern. I don't know if you can see anything in the sunlight, but now we can start putting it back together. And by we, I mean, well, mostly Ralph, because he's gonna do it all. We have some, I don't know, some malleting to do, clamping, gluing. I don't know, I'm just gonna stand around and sort of be helpful. But, I don't know, I guess I'll just give it over to Ralph.
The original screws that held the lower shelf in were these slotted screws. I don't like these as they're difficult to use, so I decided to replace them with these Robertson ones. Anna wanted to create a drawer for the table, and she wanted to use this thick board that she recycled from an old photo frame. This board will form the bottom of the drawer, and as you can see, it is a near perfect fit. To keep it aligned when opening and closing the drawer, we decided to place some guardrails in these areas using decorative trim wood.
I have the little trim pieces that Ralph cut for the guardrails around my little drawer, but the wood is completely a different species. This is so much lighter. It's a much blonder wood. I don't really know what it is because I don't know my wood families, but this one was definitely way more red, a really rich color, and this is very blonde. So I have to come up with a way to make it sort of match, because I think that'll just look better. So I'm going to, this is not a scientific or tried and true method. I'm just going to be using different stains, different paints, whatever I can do to kind of just make the colors seem like they're going to match. And I'm going to start on a bottom part where I know no one's going to see it if I make it look really ugly. So I'm going to pull all my brown paints now. If you want to take a paint, just an acrylic paint, and make it more like a stain, all you do is put it on a baby wipe and you rub it on the wood. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. Got my baby wipes from the dollar store, because we ain't got no babies here. And let's pick this dark color. not bad. It's more orangey than red, but not bad. Okay, let me try this paint too. I better keep them in line as to what I use. So I use that one, and I'm using burnt umber. Oh, this one is more red. Okay. Okay, so this is what I started with, and this is what I got. It looks almost the same. So I'm using raw umber, burnt umber, and then the last little bit of my chocolate stain. Okay, now to do the rest of the pieces.
To create the sides of the drawer, I used the bottom board as my measurement guide and cut out the 4 side pieces, and then verify I didn't make any cutting mistakes. The boards are still a bit rough at this stage, so with my part done, I passed it on to Anna to sand and stain. Once the staining had dried, I assembled the box for the drawer. I used right angle clamps to help keep the wood at 90-degree angles while I glued and screwed it all together. Next, I moved on to getting the guardrails in place. I again used wood glue and a pair of clamps to maintain its position. This then helped in securing the piece with brad nails, and afterwards I could remove the clamps while the glue set.
Now that Ralph's done framing out the drawer, I can work on the inside, and I want to make it a little bit interesting, kind of like you open the drawer and go, ooh, fun. So that's what I want to do. So first I want to start by just priming the inside of the box. The primer needs to dry for 4 hours before I can paint it with a nice fun color. But in the meantime, I've cut out a piece of the wallpaper that's in the same room, and I'm going to use it as the bottom of the drawer. I mean, the bottom of the drawer is the backing of a picture frame, so this will hide that and kind of give it a little more protection, I think, you know, like, okay, who cares, whatever. It's just gonna look really cute because there's a fun pattern when you open the drawer. That's my reasoning. Time for some color.
Once again, Anna gave me the job of assembling things. The bottom was attached to the box using glue, and then I secured it with some staples. Now the edge of the board was not quite flush with the box, so I decided to try out Anna's new Japanese Ryoba saw. This saw works great, and it's very sharp, so I placed a thin sheet of cardboard on the surface to protect the wood. Next, I needed to place the handle for the drawer. Using a tape measure and square, I marked where my handle was to be placed. I drilled my holes on the front of the drawer and verified that I did it correctly afterwards. Now, all I had left was to secure the handle with some screws before handing it all back to Anna for her to do her thing. And my part is done.
The drawer is all assembled and done. Isn't it so cute? And And there's only 2 things I still need to do to it. I need to seal the actual wood, and then I don't love that there's black screws, so I have some gold rub-and buff that I'm gonna make them gold. So first the waxing, just clear wax, and a lot of buffing.
Well, just when I thought I was done, I was reminded the top of the table still needed to be attached. So, using wood glue and the aid of Anna's Valentine present to me a few years back, I finished putting it all together.
The top of the table is on, so that means the table's finally done. And I just need to seal it. I'm gonna do that with just some clear wax. The table is done, and so is the drawer. I did add a large felt pad to the bottom, just so when you slide it in and out, it slides really nicely. And all I have left to do now is just insert the drawer. Not only did I refinish this table, I took it completely apart, fixed up the broken bits, and made it a drawer. Now all I have to do is take it back to my parents. I think the before and after of this table is drastic. That original glossy finish didn't show off the nice wood, and it made the table look a little cheap. Now, I know I'm the one who refinished it, but I really think this looks so much better. Thanks so much for watching. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you soon with another project. Bye!
Totally different between the... I can't speak.
So now we've seen an opossum or a possum, I'm not sure which one it was, but it was in our backyard, so I think you might need a name. And we have a dove nest with 3 baby doves in it now. So we have like just a little farm going back here, it's a wildlife nature sanctuary, and we love it. But anyways, that is not what I'm doing right now. I am talking about this, so back to that. Okay.